let's talk about what fairy is and what fairy isn't. So I like how Lee Morgan describes in his book Sounds of Infinity that fairy is both a place and a state of being, and I couldn't agree more. This is how I experience the fairy realm and even working with the fairies. So I am feeling inspired to show you a technique for how to connect with the fairies. So anytime you're going to be researching like how to connect with the fairy realm and how to connect with these entities, you are going to encounter a lot of warnings. So just be mindful. Here's my take, I guess, on the idea of like giving warnings and approaching the fairies with caution. The spirit realm sees us beyond what our physical form is. They see what's in our hearts. They can connect to the essence of who we are. And if we're meant to work with the fairies and in alignment with working with the fairies, and we remain respectful and do our work and work on ourselves and check our shadows and our like projections and the things that, you know, that come with being human, and this also, and we're also meant to work with fairies because we're drawn to them or they're drawn to us or whatever the case, you know. I don't know how that is like determined outside of just what we're drawn to. You can work with the fairies very safely and create very nourishing and nurturing relationships. And I think everyone, or I feel that everyone needs to search themselves and discern for themselves if they are meant to be working with these beings or not. And if so, are you willing to put in the work and the effort required to sustain the relationships, just like you would any relationship in your life? You know, it requires effort, growth, compromise, deepening awareness of the other person's needs and wants, as well as like advocating for your own needs and wants. And all of that can be brought into these really deep and special relationships with non-physical entities like fairies. So I think you should heed the warnings, and I also think you should be cultivating the ability to trust yourself and to know what is right for you, what is meant for you. And if your gut instincts are telling you like, no, this is wrong, or this feels dangerous, or this isn't right, then you need to go back and address what that is and where that's coming from, and if it's anxiety or if it's actually like maybe these spirits aren't the ones that are most aligned with you. Maybe there are other spirits or types of entities or gods or deities that would be a better fit for your temperament, personality, and interests. So yeah, we live in a world full of variety and options and choices, and we get to design our practices around what our spirits are here to do and what our spirits are here to create and to express about ourselves. So I think that's a really beautiful thing of our witchcraft and our practices, and how they have this sense of like personal creativity and also at the same time like collective work, because the beings that you work with bring you into a collective and into a kind of family. So it's that interconnectedness that I think you know, we long for, that interconnected like connection building and family. Okay, so that's my feelings on working with fairies. So okay, where we started this video was fairies both a place and a state of being. And what this means is that our spirits, which are made up of multiple parts, these parts can detach from our physical body. So when we dream, for example, we go into this altered state and a part of our being, you know, travels to the dream realm. And some people are very attuned at like feeling that sense of like the spirit leaving the body. And many witches will leave the body in the form of witches and healers and shamans and things will leave the body in different forms, in different like versions of their spirit, body, and being. So it could be like an animal or a mixture or hybrid or humanoid something or fairy. And those are like techniques that you work on in your witchcraft, is like how to move your consciousness or your mind or your being into these other forms and into these spirit beings. So when you are traveling to the fairy realm, you are moving this part of your spirit that can go there, that fits there, or that lives there, or can reside there. And you are trying to maintain your awareness in that process. So just like, you know, if you can stay like lucid in a dream or aware that you're dreaming, you can remember the experience a lot better. But sometimes when you know, put yourself in an altered state through like deep breathing, chanting, meditation, dance, you might actually like not be able to retain the memories as much, and you might not stay as lucid and aware. And that's fine too. There's like a variety of experiences, and the experience still happened, whether you like firmly remember it in your human mind in this moment or not. It still happened in another realm. It still occurred. So that's how it's like a state, a place you can go. And then also how it's a state of being is you're also shifting from the like conditioned state of being that we are, you know, trained to be in our whole lives, to like be sitting in the rational, to only believe what's material, to, if we don't, you know, see with our own eyes, it didn't happen, to experience it in our material realm. So Faerie happens like right next to us. It like intertwines with this physical world, and it's like beyond the physical and also like mirrors the physical. So when you enter the fairy realm, everything is reversed, not and like non-linear. So like if I'm in a really deep fairy like dream or trance, I'll go up the stairs, but really it's like I'm going down the stairs, or I will fall back into water, but really I'm falling back into space. And so there's this like reversal energy that, you know, the fairies are known for, and it can be very disorienting, but it's also like a beautiful state of magic to be in. And if you can remember what those states feel like or how to get into those states, then you can bring it back, you know, into like so-called waking life and create art and you know, get into those states of awe and wonder and ecstasy by tapping into that, like that fairy current specifically. So I hope I'm making sense. These ideas are very like nebulous, and I feel the more like you try to define or explain them, like the more their essence kind of like it doesn't always translate very well to just language or an explanation. It's more like an experience, which I think most witchcraft and magic is rooted in experience, and reading about it and learning about it is so fascinating and interesting, but the real power comes from experiencing it and doing the practices and being dedicated to testing what your limits are as a human, or what your, you know, what boundaries can you push past, like through your spirit body. So yeah, so I'm feeling inspired to share a way into the fairy realm, and this is something that I do. One way that the fairy beings come to me is in the form of bees, and through, I can hear this like buzzing or humming sound when I can tell that I'm going into an altered state. And then I usually will see visions of these like humanoid insect fairies, and sometimes they look like humanoid bees, or sometimes they just look like a giant bee kind of spirit, like huge. And for me, most of the fairy entities that come to me are all really giant beings, so like massive land entities, and a lot of them are insects. So okay, so here's the practice. If you want to do it with me, lie down or sit, find yourself like into, you know, settle yourself into like a comfortable position. we're going to be doing some buzzing to like mimic the sound of the bees. So just start by closing your eyes if you feel like it. Give you a minute to settle in. Just watch your breathing. Watch your breath moving in and out of your body. Become aware of your body. Become aware of the ground beneath you and the space above you. Become aware of the space to your right, the space to your left, the space in front, the space at your back. And anchor yourself into your heart, feeling the space where your soul resides and where the gateway of Faerie exists. And take a deep inhale and exhale. And then we will begin the practice. With your mouth closed, begin to buzz or hum right at the back of your throat. So it will sound like this. And again. Again. Okay. Return back to this present moment. If you participated in the practice, did you feel altered? Did you feel like you went somewhere or entered an altered state? You might have felt your body like vibrating, or the energy centers of your aura like start to open or loosen. For me, I could feel like some beings coming in, like attracted to my energy, because they were resonating with whatever sound my body was creating. So yeah, I mean, feel free to try that practice. You could even do the humming, mimicking the sound of the bees for a little bit longer, but it's up to you. We know it feels good. For me, I just felt like the energy like rise, and when it was ready to dissipate, it did. I let it go. So now I feel like I'm in an altered state. And then from here, I could do lots of things. I could meditate, I could work on a divination, I could just connect, build a connection with my fairy spirits that I work with. And I just want to say, I believe that some of these practices like buzzing and humming have roots in other traditions, and I'm not super familiar with what those are, but it's definitely something that like I'll continue to research and learn about, and I encourage you to do the same. This is just the way that the fairy beings have taught me to get into the realm or connect with this current of power, of fairy power. So yeah, if you do this frequently, you can, you know, you're more easily entering into the realm of the fae, and will start to like attract the fae beings, you know, into your orbit, and they might want to work with you. And the nature of that work can be beautiful and intense and challenging, but it all contributes to the work of a witch, and many, many witches are also slated to work with the fairy realm and the plants, rocks, gemstones on the earth, and other elemental and environmental forces. So powers and forces of creation. So yeah, let me know if you tried the practice, if you have any questions, and thank you so much.